Hi there. Welcome to the iPSS Inc. booth at the second annual ServiceNow Canadian Federal Forum. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend today's Fed Forum and for checking out our booth. Our team has spent a lot of time putting this together, so we really hope you enjoy it and maybe learn a little bit of the process. My name is Jacob Jam, and I am one of the members of the iPSS team that helps run our ServiceNow practice. Before we dive into the video, I would like to apologize for the wild hair. Unfortunately, as many of you know, the barbershops are still currently closed in Ottawa due to the lockdown restrictions, so please bear with me. For context, iPSS is a trusted IT system integrator and reseller serving the Canadian public sector for nearly 20 years. iPSS has been strategically partnered with ServiceNow for almost 3 of those years, and during that time, our team has developed a deep understanding of the Now platform, as well as the services and support that go along with it. Having historically been a cybersecurity-focused organization, our team was drawn almost instantaneously to the ServiceNow Security Operations module, which we will be showcasing today. With the recent devastating cyber attacks happening around the world, which seem to be in the news almost every other week, we thought that taking a deeper dive into the problems and headaches security teams currently face and how ServiceNow can help alleviate these issues. This is done through the use of built-in automation, AI, and the cloud to increase an organization's security posture, incident response time, and eliminate inefficiencies found in today's security practices. Now, before I pass things along to the very capable hands of Jeremy Reed and Mario Poirier, who will be running you through the security incident response capabilities of the SecOps module, I will leave you with this. If your goal is starting or even continuing your organization's digital transformation journey, trust that ServiceNow can pave that way.
Merci, Jacob, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Before I pass it over to my colleague Jeremy, who is going to show you the platform, the Security Incident Response module of ServiceNow, I'm going to take a brief moment to just put it in context first. So I'm going to show you the same process. One is manual, which is typically what we see today, and one automated with ServiceNow. You'll see where you have opportunities to create some efficiencies that apply to your organization, but also you'll see some numbers to back it up. So let's have a look. So first, the manual process starts with a notification coming from a SIM or an email. It's documented, and then there's a triage step where we set the SLA to remediate the issue. Now, what we hope is we don't duplicate efforts on duplicate incidents coming from the same source, and we do an asset lookup where we're looking for correlations on have we done this before, have we seen this issue before. So we track down how did we fix it, right? So we track down assets from colleagues, from different sources, from spreadsheets, and once we've gathered all that information, then we can prioritize and assign to a member of the team. So once a ticket is associated with this assigned to an analyst, then the analyst is looking for indicators of compromise. And sometimes we'll say it is a false positive. So if it is a false positive, then we can close the incident. But if not, we keep looking into different systems, different logs to find out what are the observables. What did we observe? Based on that, then we can look at what are the containment tasks or tasks to fix the issue, and then we can create the change ticket. Once that ticket is created, then we can close the actual ticket, and then we do a post-incident review by gathering all that information. So manually, we have to look for all these artifacts, these documents, these traces that we put together for future reference. All these boxes in gray that you see here are manual tasks, and they take quite a bit of time. It could be anywhere between days and weeks, depending on the gravity and the complexity of those incidents. It's based on tribal knowledge and manual lookups most times, and of course, requires a lot of effort from the team. Now, what does it look like when you look at an automated process with ServiceNow? Same start, notification coming from a SIM or an email, but then there's an API call from ServiceNow to create the incident automatically and also automatically prioritize the issue, assign the ownership, set the SLA based on rules that we've set up in the initially, and auto do an auto CI match with your CMDB to see is there any dependencies with this incident. Now, when we do this, the system also selects what is the appropriate playbook that can guide the analyst when it's time to work on the incident to again facilitate the work and accelerate the resolution. Now, all this is done while there's a threat intel lookup happening with external systems to determine if it is a false positive. And if it is, then we close it. But if not, then the analyst can start working on the incident. That is the moment where the actual work starts for the analyst. And when the work is starting, there's different things that we can automate. So we can, for example, we can have tasks like delete an email, add a rule to a firewall, or even reimage the system. We can automate these tasks to facilitate the work that the analyst has to do. Once these tasks are done, then the analyst can say, okay, I'm satisfied with the resolution. Then I can close the ticket, and then the post-incident review material is gathered automatically. So there's no need to go and find out all these documents and store it somewhere. This is all part of the platform. It stays with the history of the incident and kept for future reference. Now, this process, going from a manual process to an automated process, goes from days or weeks to hours and days. We reduce the time to identify. We avoid a lot of operational cost, and we have much faster alert processing. The tickets are handled automatically and assigned automatically, and it reduces the time to contain the issue. Ultimately, what we're doing here is saving hours through automation. Now, here's an example. ServiceNow has done it themselves. They improved their time to identify the incident by 74%. They avoided an estimated $5.7 million in cost in operational costs by faster alert processing, 6 times faster, and almost half the tickets handled automatically. So all of this helped save more than 8,700 hours annually. What this allows an organization like ServiceNow or yourself is to have your very talented, skilled analyst to spend more valuable time on improving your security posture and work on critical and strategic projects, as opposed to spending time on manual tasks. And that's the key. So without further ado, what I'll do is I'll pass it over to Jeremy, who's going to show you the tool and show you how it's done. Thank you very much. And Jeremy, over to you.
Thank you, Mario. Let's take a look at how the ServiceNow platform can help automate many of the steps in the security incident response process. So as a security analyst, we access our view and we can see that there's a new incident. So taking a peek at it, we can see that there's a high business impact and a higher risk score and an indicator of a threat. So this is something we want to look at. ServiceNow is automatically assigned, categorized, prioritized, and calculated a risk score for a security incident. Using that information, it can associate a playbook to the security incident. A playbook is a sequence of automated steps or tasks that help the analyst resolve the incident. So using ServiceNow's ServiceAware CMDB, we can view dependency information about our associated configuration item. So in our case, it's a Linux server that's been associated to our security incident. And the analyst will be able to see that this particular server is associated to a portal application and to the rewards program application. Let's get started with our playbook tasks. We're going to start with review system details. And we can start by reviewing some of the vital system details that are collected on the affected CIs, in our case, the Linux server. So we can view things like network stats, running processes, running services. These lookups are all automated in the background for us. We can go ahead and close out that task now. Our next task will be submit attachment to malware sandbox. So after reviewing the system details, we're not sure if this is in fact malware. Using a sandbox integration, we could submit a suspected malicious attachment for analysis. In this case, it's being done for us automatically, so we can close out this task. The incident timeline will show us everything that's occurred on this security incident since it's been created, from the alert that generated the incident to updates by integrations, analysts, or end users. Our next task will be to run a citing search on the hash that was collected from the alert that opened up the security incident. So we can start up a task from the playbook and access the observables list. Select the hash from the list of observables. And when we select an item from this list, we'll have a list of capabilities over here. Select citing search and run it. Search is running, so we can go ahead and close that task now. The next task in the playbook is to perform threat lookups. So we're going to use the same steps that we use for the citing search, but for two different observables. And when we select our capabilities dropdown, we'll have the threat lookup option here. So we've run the threat lookup. We can go ahead and close out that task now. So now that we've run these searches and lookups, we can go have a look to see what the integrations have found. So we access the threat lookup results list. We can see the IP has been returned as malicious and the file as well. It has a pretty high threat score to go with it. The next task on our playbook is to determine if the malware has spread. So this is an outcome type task where we answer yes or no to the question being asked. So based on our citing search results, we can determine whether or not the malware has spread. And looking here, it looks like it has. There's 0 internal or external citing. So we can go ahead and select no on this task. The next item on our playbook is to isolate the affected hosts. So what we want to prevent that malware from being able to spread. So by isolating the host, we'll prevent any network communication to or from the host. So using a similar method that we use for our citing searches, we'll select our server, our host from a configuration item list. And when we select it, we'll have a list of capabilities available. We can pick isolate host. In this case, we may have more than one implementation or integration that can perform these actions. We'll pick the appropriate one from this list and then run it. Let's go ahead and close that one now. So the next thing we would want to do here is have that server wiped and reimaged. And we don't have a task in our playbook to do that. But we can add tasks manually or ad hoc for any items that aren't part of the playbook. So here I'm going to create a task to have the server wiped and reimaged. I'm going to assign it to the Unix security team. After submitting that task, it should become part of my playbook, an item in my playbook. Now the next step in our playbook is to perform a block request on the command and control IP. So let's start that task. We're going to use a similar method that we used to execute the citing search to execute the host isolation. And what we want to do is we want to block that IP at the firewalls. And from our list of observables, we can select the IP address, which will pop up the list of available integration capabilities. We pick block request, and finally we pick the implementation of the block request we want to execute. Now we can close that task. At this point, we've performed all the tasks in our playbook and have mitigated the threat. So we can close our security incident by selecting the incident state to close. So it'll generate a new tab on our UI. From here, we can set the closure information, or we can request assessments. The assessments contain questionnaires that collect information used for post-incident review. Let's go ahead and set the close code and close notes for this security incident.
Thank you, Jeremy. That was great. So now I'm asked often, what's next? How do I procure ServiceNow? Well, the good news is there's been a lot of really good work done by Shared Services Canada to accelerate these initiatives by offering them on the GC Cloud Brokering Service. So we've worked collaboratively with the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity, CCCS, to ensure that the solution is Protected B certified and matches all the requirements for cloud solutions for the federal government. Now you can go on this page, click on Cloud Providers, and then you can get more information on the hyperscalers that have been selected. So you got to go to ServiceNow, get some information, additional product information, solutions, case studies, etc. Now, if you're interested in looking at the catalog, you go back to the main page, and at the bottom right, you'll see the cloud services, and then you can go and select ServiceNow. By clicking search, you'll see a list of SKUs, which we are constantly updating with the newest and greatest that ServiceNow has to offer. Now, what we can do is absolutely support you with this journey, where we can work with you to see which SKU apply to your requirements. And SSC has made the process very simple to accelerate your projects. So if you're interested in learning more, don't hesitate to connect with us. Again, it was a pleasure talking to you today. I hope you learned a few things and that we piqued your interest. It would be a pleasure for me and the team to engage into more conversations, whether it's around the GC Cloud Brokering Service or, of course, ServiceNow in general and our security expertise. We'd love to have those conversations with you. I hope you have a great rest of conference virtually and looking forward to our next conversation. Stay safe and have a great day.